basically create two double-sided postcards at the same time, thus saving a little more money on the press and also, a little less paper for your run. So here's how it goes. The first thing we're going to do is create a new document. Now, normally I would say to you just go in and use a letter-sized document, but the reason I'm going in here to do this is I don't want facing pages. Because we are going to be printing double-sided, you want to make sure that you actually have just one page showing in this case. All right. So I'm going to hit create. There's my one page. And now I got to do some math. And this is the part that usually makes people crazy. So I would say to you, if you're going to use some math to do this, let's do it on the master page. So that way it doesn't affect our artwork when we put it in. So I'm going to double click on the master page. Now, here is one of the great features of InDesign. It technically does the math for you because, again, computer, right? So don't do the math yourself. Let it do it. If you grab the guide from the ruler like this, all right, and you can literally drop it anywhere. But remember, if you put your guide on the page, it's only going to go across the page. If you put your guide into the pasteboard, you'll get it going further than that. Now, you can literally drop this anywhere, all right, because it's going to come up here. And you'll be able to actually do the math. So we're going up and down. So that's the y-axis that we're actually working with. This is darker blue than the color of the guide is normally. So that means this guide is selected. We know that the page height is 11 inches. So if I just do 11 inches and I use the / on the keyboard as my divide, and I say divide by 2, I hit enter, and it sticks it at 5.5, which we actually do know is the center of the page, top to bottom. So, but I just want to show you because this is how it's done really easily. So we are now working with this section up here, okay? And if I click anywhere else on this page, it's going to release that guide and actually lock it into position. So it's not going to move. Okay, so we're going to make a rectangle, and we know that this rectangle to represent the postcard is going to be 6 inches, right, by 4 inches. And if you noticed, I did actually save this to inches when I created the document. So it was in picas originally. So 6 by 4, using the transform tool, okay, you're going to move it into the right position. Now, before I even do that, you'll notice that InDesign made a black stroke on my box. I'm using this box as a guide. I'm not going to be using this as an actual box that will be printed, right? So I'm actually going to come over here. And again, the hotkey is X to make the stroke active, right? The fill was active before. Then I'm going to use the /, that's the shortcut key, just to get rid of it. And always remember, you got to select that box in order to affect that box. Okay, so moving on. I've got the reference point currently, just this one here at the top. But if I want to set this dead center from where I am right now, I already know that this is 0 to 8.5, but the problem here is it's now 0 to 5.5 to get to center. So the best way for me to do this is to go into the X and do the same thing. 8.5 divided by 2. Tab into the next one. So you see how it went to 4.25 automatically. All right. And now in the next one, I'm going to do 5.5 divided by 2. So what was the problem? Okay. The problem is the reference point was this point. I need to reference in the center or this is not going to work. Now, currently the X is in the right position. It's supposed to be at 4.25. I'm going to now change the Y again by doing the exact same math. 5.5 / 2. All right, so that's divided. Hit enter. It's in the center of that upper block, which is what I was looking for. All right. Now, I also want to include bleed on my on the box that I'm doing. So right now, this is the actual trim size. I'm going to go ahead and make another box. Now, if I get this right and I actually put this on that dot, when I create my next one, I'm just literally adding 1/4 inch all the way around because bleed is 1/8, right? So when you're doing it, remember, from here to here is 6 inches. So if I go 6 plus 1/8 for one side, and then plus, okay, let me try 1/8, which is 0.125, and then plus again another eighth for the other side. When I hit tab, it's 6 1/4. So again, I did the math in my head. I know 2/8 make a quarter, but generally speaking, if you don't, just put the math into the box. That's the thing that it was designed for. So I've got 6 1/4 to 4 1/4. There it is. Now, because I hit the center, it should have gone into the center. But from what I remember telling you guys back in digital apps days, you would hold down the Option key in the middle to go from the center outward. Remember? It goes from the center with the Option key. Otherwise, it's going to drag from the left down. So it put that left right in the middle of the actual document. I'm allowing for all the mistakes that would happen, so that way if anything happens to you, you don't feel panicked. You can go back to this video and see exactly how it's done. All right. So I'm now going to, because I have this in the center. Oh, and again, notice the black box came back, right? This is always annoying. So here's the thing about InDesign that you need to know. If you create a box, it's always going to have that black box on it. And if you take it off, if you take the stroke off while you've got this actual box already drawn, the next time you draw a box, you're going to get a black line again on the stroke. So it's not like Illustrator where once you take it off, it's off. In this case, you would have to take it off before you draw the box. So I'm going to do that next time, and then I'll show you what I mean. All right. So in this case, I've got this box. I'm now going to do exactly the same thing. It's already referenced to the center of the box that I've got. And if I do 4 1/4 by, I can't remember what it was, so I'm just going to go 5 1/2 divided by 2. And there you go. And it's actually representing on the outside of the box. So that's my bleed for the trim. Okay. So again, I'm going to take off the stroke by hitting the /. So the next thing that I want to do, I'm going to release that by clicking anywhere else. And I'm going to show you what I mean about the box system. Okay. So you see now, if I click on and I just create any box, I've got that black outline again, right? And it's going to happen every single time. If I take it off and I try to do another box, it's going to give me the same outline again, as you can see. So the way you can do that, especially if you're making your boxes into guides like we are now, take this stroke off before you do it, all right? And that way, every time you make a box, there's no black line there. And that will also be true of any time you make a box after that, right? So if I now go 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, which was what we had before. Oops. I should look up at what I'm doing. Okay, so 6 by 4. It doesn't matter. I'm not using this box. You can see that there is no stroke on there. So I just wanted to actually show you that so it sort of solidifies itself in your mind.